How does a single image show the passage of time? In early Buddhist art, like this sandstone relief from the 1st century BCE, artists found creative ways to condense multiple moments into one composition. Buddhism is one of the world's oldest religions, and the artists of this relief used a technique called continuous narrative to capture key moments in the life of its founder. What is continuous narrative? A continuous narrative details multiple events in a single frame. In this case, an 8-foot-long rectangular frame with the main protagonist or character repeated again and again to guide our eyes through space and time. In this relief, the main figure is the historical Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni. It depicts the moment in the Buddha's life when he left his life as Prince Siddhartha behind and set about on his path towards nirvana, or enlightenment. This relief is called the Great Departure. The narrative reads from left to right and uses continuous narrative to tell the story. The Great Departure scene is packed with figures. We see the multi-story palace on the left with figures in balconies and crowds of people surrounding a horse that repeats again and again with a parasol or an umbrella over it. A tree flourishes in the center, and then on the far right, we see a parasol hovering over a pair of footprints with spoked wheels inscribed in them. The horse with the parasol repeats 4 times from left to right before reaching the pair of footprints, and then turns back without the parasol at the end of the scene. The main character is the Buddha, but where is he in this crowded scene? Early Buddhist art is aniconic, meaning the Buddha is not represented in human form. Instead, symbols are used to depict the Buddha's presence, like the parasol we see repeated throughout the Great Departure scene. The parasol is symbolic of the Buddha's royal background as a prince and represents his presence in this scene. The wheels and the footprints are also aniconic symbols that represent the Buddha's presence. They are symbolic of Buddhist dharma, or the wheel of law, that is, the Buddha's teachings. So in this scene, we see the Buddha, whose presence is represented by a parasol, depart the palace where he was raised, on horseback, and make his way across the scene. The horse is carried by deities, who help Siddhartha sneak out of the palace quietly during the night, when everyone was sleeping, to search for truth. The pair of footprints with the spoked wheels symbolize that he dismounted from his horse. We see his groom kneeling in front of the footprints and then leading the horse back to the palace without Siddhartha. The Great Departure relief decorates an architrave or lintel on one of the gateways or toranas at the Great Stupa at Sanchi. A stupa is a monumental reliquary mound or an architectural monument that contains a sacred relic. A relic is a special religious object like a pinky bone of a religious leader or something special they owned or touched. The Great Stupa at Sanchi, the largest and earliest extant stupa in the world, is surrounded by a circular stone railing with 4 torana gateways. The gateways lead to a path for pradakshina, or ritual circumambulation, around the solid stone hemisphere to prepare worshippers' minds for meditation. Each torana is composed of 2 posts and 3 architraves, and they are richly decorated with relief carvings that depict narratives or stories from the life of the historical Buddha. The Great Departure relief is on the eastern torana. Like all the narratives on the Great Stupa at Sanchi gateways, the Great Departure scene is meant to be didactic, meaning that it is intended to teach something. In this case, images and symbols are used to teach an important story in the Buddha's life. While the Great Departure reads from left to right, this is not necessarily the case with all the narrative reliefs at the Great Stupa at Sanchi. Continuous narrative is just one mode of many represented at the site, but it is a universal mode of narration in world art. Continuous narrative is used in artworks across time and place, from ancient Roman relief sculptures and ancient Chinese funerary paintings to medieval tapestries and Renaissance paintings, just to name a few.